Chapter 1, The Divorce Party. Sign it. The document landed in front of Ethan Carter like a slap. The restaurant went silent. 30 pairs of eyes stared at him. At the center of the room stood his wife, Olivia, wearing a red dress and a smile that looked sharper than a knife. She raised a glass of champagne. Everyone, tonight is special. I'm finally ending the biggest mistake of my life. Laughter broke out. Someone even clapped. Ethan looked at the divorce papers. 3 years of marriage. Reduced to 6 sheets of paper. He slowly raised his head. You invited people for this? Olivia smiled. No. I invited them to celebrate my freedom. More laughter. At the next table, her best friend covered her mouth and whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. I still can't believe she married a delivery driver. Man in a gray suit shook his head. Love really makes people stupid. Another round of laughter. Ethan didn't move. His fingers rested on the papers. Olivia's face turned cold. What are you waiting for? You should be grateful I'm giving you a chance to leave with your dignity. Dignity? Ethan almost laughed. For 3 years, he woke up before sunrise. For 3 years, he worked 2 jobs. For 3 years, every dollar he earned went into their home. He cooked. He cleaned. He stayed up all night when she was sick. And now, she was throwing him away like garbage. Olivia leaned forward. Let's be honest. You have nothing. She looked around the room. No house. No savings. No future. Then she smiled. And I found someone better. The restaurant doors opened. A black luxury car had just stopped outside. A tall man entered. Designer suit. Gold watch. Confident smile. The room instantly became excited. It's Ryan. Ryan Bennett. The Bennett Group heir. Olivia walked straight toward him and wrapped her arm around his. She looked back at Ethan. Meet my fiancé. The world seemed to stop. Fiancé? They weren't even divorced yet. Ryan looked Ethan up and down as if examining an insect. So you're the husband. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a bank card. Take $50,000. He placed it on the table. Disappear. The room exploded. $50,000. To Ethan, the delivery driver, it was a fortune. Ryan smiled. You should know your place. Olivia crossed her arms. Take it, Ethan. It's more money than you've ever seen. Nobody noticed that Ethan's expression had changed. His eyes became strangely calm. He looked at the bank card. Then at Olivia. Then at Ryan. Finally, he asked one question. When did this start? Olivia didn't hesitate. 8 months ago. Silence. 8 months. 8 months. The answer felt colder than ice. He remembered every late-night meeting. Every business trip. Every excuse. All lies. Ryan put an arm around Olivia's waist. You should thank me. I saved her from wasting her life. Ethan suddenly smiled. A small smile. Then another. Until he was laughing. Everyone looked confused. Olivia frowned. What's wrong with you? Ethan wiped the corner of his eye. I just remembered something funny. What? 3 years ago, you said you would love me even if I became a beggar. Olivia's face hardened. People change. No. Ethan slowly stood up. Money changes people. Ryan smirked. Exactly. Ethan looked at him. You're right. Then he picked up the bank card. Olivia's eyes lit up. She knew it. He was still poor. Still pathetic. Still powerless. Ethan held the card between two fingers. Then. Snap. He broke it in half. The room froze. Ryan's smile disappeared. What did you do? Ethan dropped the broken pieces onto the table. I don't need your money. Olivia looked shocked. Are you insane? Ethan took a deep breath. For the first time in 3 years, he felt tired. Truly tired. He pulled a black ring from his pocket. Nobody had ever seen it before. The moment Ryan saw it, his face turned white. Impossible. That ring. No. No, it couldn't be. Ethan noticed his reaction. Interesting. Very interesting. Olivia looked between them. What is it? Nobody answered. Ethan slowly put the ring on his finger. At that exact moment, his phone rang. An old ringtone. The entire restaurant was silent enough to hear it. Ethan looked at the screen. One name appeared. Grandfather. He answered. A deep voice came from the other side. Have you had enough? Ethan closed his eyes. For 3 years, he had hidden himself. For 3 years, he had walked away from his family. All because he wanted to know if someone could love him without his name or money. Tonight, he finally had his answer. He opened his eyes. Yes. The old man sighed. Then come home. A pause. The board of directors has been waiting. Ryan's hand started shaking. Board of directors. No. No. There was only one family in the country whose board meeting could make billionaires tremble. The Carter family. The owners of Carter Global. The richest family in the nation. Ethan's voice remained calm. I'll be there in an hour. He hung up. Then he looked at Olivia one last time. You said I had nothing. Olivia forced a laugh. Stop pretending. Ethan smiled. Sad smile. No. I'm done pretending. He took one step toward the door. Ryan suddenly shouted. Wait. Everyone turned. Ryan's face had completely lost its color. He swallowed hard. Then asked in a trembling voice. Who are you? Ethan stopped. Without turning around, he answered. I'm the man you just offered $50,000 to disappear. He pushed the door open. Cold night air rushed inside. Then came his final words. And tomorrow morning. He looked back. You'll wish you never met me. Chapter 2, The Man Who Returned. The restaurant remained silent long after Ethan left. No one moved. No one even breathed too loudly. Ryan Bennett was still staring at the door. His face looked as if he had seen a ghost. Olivia frowned. Ryan? No answer. She touched his arm. Ryan, what's wrong? He suddenly grabbed her wrist. That ring, where did he get that ring? Olivia frowned even more. What ring? It's just an old black ring. Ryan looked at her in disbelief. You don't know? Know what? His lips moved, but no words came out. Because if he was right, if that ring was real, then the man they had humiliated tonight wasn't a delivery driver. He was someone far above them. Someone they could never afford to offend. Olivia forced a laugh. Come on, you're scaring me. Ryan slowly turned toward her. You said he was poor. He is. You said he had no family. He doesn't. At least, that's what he told me. Ryan's expression darkened. What if he lied? Olivia shook her head immediately. Impossible. I've lived with him for 3 years. She sounded confident. Yet for the first time, a strange feeling crept into her chest. 3 years. She suddenly realized something. She knew almost nothing about her husband. No parents. No relatives. No old friends. No childhood stories. Nothing. Whenever she asked, Ethan would simply smile and change the subject. Cold sensation ran down her back. Ryan quickly took out his phone. He dialed a number. Mr. Foster, I need a favor. A respectful voice came from the other side. Of course, Mr. Bennett. I need information on a man. Right now. Name? Ethan Carter. There was a brief pause. Then the man laughed. A delivery driver. Since when did you start investigating ordinary people? Ryan didn't laugh. Just do it. Give me 10 minutes. The call ended. The room slowly became noisy again. The guests whispered among themselves. Did that guy really scare Ryan? No way. He probably stole that ring. Exactly. Olivia finally relaxed. Yes. That had to be it. Ethan was poor. She knew every detail of his life. Didn't she? A few minutes later, Ryan's phone rang. He answered immediately. The voice on the other end sounded strange. Very strange. Mr. Bennett. What did you find? Silence. Then. I couldn't find anything. Ryan frowned. What do you mean? I mean, nothing. No school records. No work history. No family information. No medical records. It's like this person appeared out of nowhere 3 years ago. Ryan's face turned pale. That's impossible. I thought so too. The man lowered his voice. And then I tried another database. What database? The one only large corporations have access to. Ryan suddenly had a bad feeling. Another silence. Then came a trembling answer. I was locked out. What? The system sent a warning. What warning? The man swallowed. Access denied. Confidential information under the highest level of protection. Ryan's hand started shaking. There were only a handful of families in the country whose information was protected at that level. The Bennett family wasn't one of them. Mr. Bennett. What? I suggest you don't investigate this man anymore. Click. The call ended. Ryan stood frozen. Olivia looked at him nervously. What happened? He didn't answer. His mind was in chaos. No records. Highest level protection. Black ring. The phone call. Board of directors. One possibility slowly formed in his mind. And it terrified him. No. He whispered. It can't be. Just then, the restaurant manager ran in. He looked panicked. Mr. Bennett. Miss Olivia. What? There are hundreds of cars outside. Everyone rushed toward the windows. Then they saw them. Black cars. One after another. Stretching all the way down the street. Luxury brands. Each one cost more than most people's houses. The doors opened. Men in black suits stepped out. At the same time. Perfectly synchronized. Dozens of them. Then came another car. Long black limousine. Its golden emblem shined under the streetlights. Ryan's pupils suddenly shrank. Because he knew that emblem. Everyone in the business world knew it. The crown. Surrounded by two lions. The symbol of Carter Global. The richest corporation in the nation. The entire restaurant exploded. Oh my God. Why are they here? Did some big shot arrive? The limousine door slowly opened. An elderly man stepped out. Silver hair. Straight back. An aura that made people instinctively lower their voices. The moment Ryan saw him, his legs almost gave out. Impossible. Olivia looked confused. Who is he? Ryan swallowed hard. That's the chairman of Carter Global. The room instantly fell silent. Even the air seemed to freeze. The chairman? The man whose wealth could buy entire cities. Why was he here? The old man looked toward the restaurant entrance. Then he frowned slightly. A middle-aged assistant hurried over. Sir, young master already left. The old man's expression softened. He still likes walking. Young master. Ryan's brain exploded. Young master. There was only one person in the entire world who could make the chairman of Carter Global wait outside personally. One person. One heir. One legend. The mysterious successor of the Carter family. The man nobody had ever seen. Ryan's face turned white. Olivia suddenly grabbed his arm. Ryan, why do you look so scared? He looked at her. His lips trembled. Then he asked a question. When did you say you met Ethan? 3 years ago. And what did he do then? He had nothing. Ryan slowly closed his eyes. Terrible truth crashed into him. 3 years ago. Exactly 3 years ago. The business world had been shaken by one piece of news. The Carter family's only heir had disappeared. No one could find him. No one knew where he went. And tonight, he had just offered $50,000 to the heir of the richest family in the country. Ryan felt his blood turn cold. Olivia was still confused. Then she saw him. Saw the fear in his eyes. A fear she had never seen before. Ryan? Tell me I'm wrong. What? Tell me Ethan isn't your husband. She laughed nervously. Of course he is. Ryan's face lost its last bit of color. He whispered. We're finished. At that exact moment, a phone rang. It was Olivia's. She looked at the screen. Ethan. For some reason, her hands began to shake. She answered. Hello? A calm voice came from the other side. One last thing. She couldn't speak. You once asked me what kind of man I wanted to become. Silence. Finally have the answer. What answer? His voice remained gentle. The kind of man who never has to beg someone to stay. A tear suddenly rolled down her cheek. She didn't know why. Ethan. But the line had already gone dead. Chapter 3, The Heir Returns. The black limousine cut through the night like a shadow. Inside, Ethan sat quietly by the window. No one spoke. Not even the driver. Across from him sat the old man with silver hair. Richard Carter. Chairman of Carter Global. His grandfather. For a long time, he simply looked at Ethan. Then he sighed. You've lost weight. Ethan smiled faintly. So that's the first thing you say after 3 years. I wanted to say I missed you. The old man looked out the window. But that would sound too sentimental. A small laugh escaped Ethan. It had been years since he had laughed with his grandfather. The old man poured 2 glasses of tea. Do you regret it? No. Not even tonight. Ethan thought for a few seconds. Then he shook his head. I got what I wanted. And what was that? The truth. Silence filled the car. Finally, Richard nodded. The truth is always expensive. Ethan picked up his tea. I can afford it. The old man studied him carefully. 3 years ago, the young man sitting in front of him had been different. Arrogant. Sharp. Untouchable. Now there was something else in his eyes. Calm. Pain. And strength. You've changed. So have you. The old man smiled. No. I've just gotten older. The limousine slowly entered a private road. A few seconds later, giant iron gates opened. Beyond them stood a palace of glass and stone. The Carter estate. Home. Ethan hadn't seen it in 3 years. For a moment, he simply stared. The memories came back all at once. His mother teaching him piano. His father carrying him on his shoulders. Birthday parties. Summer nights. Then came the memories he didn't want. The funeral. The black suits. The endless crying. The day he became the sole heir. He slowly closed his eyes. You still blame yourself. His grandfather's voice was gentle. Ethan didn't answer. Because it was true. His parents had died in a plane crash while returning from his college graduation. Since that day, a part of him had never forgiven himself. The car stopped. The door opened. Outside stood 2 long lines of people. Executives. Assistants. Security personnel. More than 100 people. The moment Ethan stepped out, every head lowered. Welcome home, young master. The voices echoed through the night. Ethan froze. 3 years. 3 years of being called useless. 3 years of delivering food in the rain. 3 years of hearing people laugh at him. And now, the entire business empire was bowing before him. The old man smiled. Still think you're nobody? Ethan let out a long breath. No. The old man patted his shoulder. Good. Then his expression changed. Because tomorrow morning, you'll have work to do. At the same time, Olivia couldn't sleep. She sat on the edge of her bed. The room was dark. Her phone remained in her hand. Ethan's number still glowed on the screen. She kept remembering his last words. The kind of man who never has to beg someone to stay. Why did those words hurt so much? She shook her head. This was ridiculous. She should be happy. She was engaged to Ryan Bennett. Rich. Successful. Powerful. Everything she wanted. Then why? Why did she feel like she had just thrown away something priceless? Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock. Ryan entered. His face looked terrible. You're still awake. So are you. He sat down. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then Ryan finally said, I made some calls. Olivia looked up. Eh? He swallowed. The chairman of Carter Global came out tonight. She nodded. I know. He came for someone. Silence. Ryan's hands were trembling. For Ethan. Her face turned pale. No. I wish I were wrong. No. She stood up. No, that's impossible. Ryan looked exhausted. Do you know why no one has ever seen the Carter heir? She didn't answer. Because the family protected him from the public. He looked directly into her eyes. And because nobody would recognize him if he decided to lie like an ordinary person. The room became terrifyingly quiet. Olivia slowly sat back down. Her legs no longer had strength. She whispered. Ethan, is... Ryan nodded. Yes. The word hit her harder than a slap. She remembered every argument. Every complaint. Every insult. You have nothing. No future. No value. The words suddenly became knives. She covered her mouth. Oh God. Tears filled her eyes. Ryan looked at her carefully. Then he asked. Did he ever tell you who he was? She shook her head. No. Did he ever show off his money? No. Did he ever threaten you? Again, she shook her head. Ryan slowly leaned back. The more he thought about it, the colder he became. The heir to the richest family in the country. Had spent 3 years cooking dinner. Cleaning the apartment. Fixing broken pipes. Waiting outside in the rain to pick up his wife. No one would believe it. Yet it was true. Olivia suddenly began crying. Not loudly. Just silent tears. Ryan looked at her. You still love him? She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. Or maybe. She already knew. Her phone suddenly rang. Both of them looked at it. Unknown number. She answered. Hello? Cold female voice came from the other side. Miss Olivia. Yes. This is the legal department of Carter Global. Her heart stopped. We are calling to inform you that all cooperation between Carter Global and Bennett Group has been suspended. Ryan jumped to his feet. What? The woman continued. Furthermore, any company associated with you personally will be placed under review. Olivia could barely breathe. Why? There was a brief pause. Then the answer came. Because you hurt someone our family treasures. Click. The call ended. The room fell silent. Ryan's face had become as white as paper. He knew exactly what this meant. The Bennett family wasn't powerful enough to fight Carter Global. Not even close. Their business could collapse within days. He slowly looked at Olivia. Then said the words she would never forget. We didn't lose a delivery driver tonight. He took a deep breath. We offended a king. At that exact moment. Across the city, on the highest floor of Carter Tower, Ethan stood before the giant windows. The lights of the city stretched endlessly below him. His grandfather walked over. Do you want revenge? Ethan looked at the night. A long silence followed. Then he answered softly. No. The old man looked surprised. No. Ethan smiled. A calm, tired smile. Revenge is for people who still need an explanation. He put his hands into his pockets. They already gave me my answer. So what do you want? Ethan's eyes slowly sharpened. For the first time that night, the old Ethan returned. The heir. The king. The man everyone feared. He spoke quietly. I want my life back. Chapter 4, Too Late to Regret. At 7 a.m, the Bennett Group held an emergency meeting. No one smiled. No one even touched the coffee in front of them. The atmosphere was heavy enough to suffocate. Ryan's father, Charles Bennett, threw a document onto the table. Explain this. The papers scattered everywhere. Every page carried the same message. Partnership terminated. Investment cancelled. Credit line suspended. One executive swallowed hard. Sir, we lost 12 major clients overnight. Another executive looked pale. Our stock is already falling. And 3 banks refused to answer our calls. Silence. Then came another voice. Sir, if this continues, we may not survive the month. Bang. Charles slammed his fist onto the table. Who did we offend? No one answered. Because everyone already knew. Their eyes slowly turned toward Ryan. Ryan's face was white. He hadn't slept all night. His phone had rung nonstop. Partners. Friends. Investors. None of them were asking how he was. They all wanted the same thing. What exactly did you do to anger Carter Global? Charles stared at his son. You said you met with Carter Global's heir last night. Ryan nodded weakly. A long silence. Then he spoke. I offered him $50,000 to disappear. The room went dead. One executive nearly dropped his pen. Another covered his face. Charles looked as if he had aged 10 years. You did what? Ryan lowered his head. I didn't know who he was. You idiot. Charles stood up so fast that his chair fell backward. You offered money to the future owner of Carter Global. Ryan couldn't even look at his father. Charles suddenly looked exhausted. He sat back down. For a long time, nobody spoke. Then he asked one question. Did you apologize? Ryan's silence was the answer. The old man's face turned gray. We're finished. At the same time, Olivia stood in front of her mirror. She looked terrible. Her eyes were red. She hadn't slept either. The apartment felt strange. Empty. Too quiet. Then she noticed something. A coffee mug. Still sitting on the table. Ethan's favorite mug. Blue one with a tiny crack on the side. She slowly picked it up. A memory suddenly appeared. One winter night. She had accidentally broken the handle. I'm sorry, she had said. It's just a cup. Ethan had smiled. Then buy another one. But instead of buying a new one, he repaired it himself. Because he liked it. Because he didn't like wasting things. Because that was the kind of man he was. A lump formed in her throat. Her eyes moved around the apartment. The curtains. He installed them. The bookshelf. He built it. The plants on the balcony. He watered them every morning. She suddenly realized something terrifying. This place didn't feel like her home. It felt like Ethan's. And without him. It was just a room. Her phone rang. Ryan. She answered. We need to go. Where? Carter Tower. What? We're going to apologize. She closed her eyes. A few seconds later, she whispered. Okay. An hour later. The two of them stood outside the tallest building in the city. Carter Tower. The headquarters of an empire. People in suits walked in and out. Luxury cars lined the street. Olivia looked up at the enormous building. Strange memory surfaced. 3 years ago, she had pointed at this tower and laughed. If I could work there one day, I'd die happy. Ethan had smiled. You like this place? Of course. Only extraordinary people can enter that building. She remembered his answer. Maybe one day you'll go inside. She had laughed. You talk as if you own it. He had only smiled. At the time, she thought he was joking. Now. She wanted to cry. Ryan took a deep breath. Let's go. They walked toward the entrance. The receptionist immediately stood up. Do you have an appointment? Ryan forced a smile. We're here to see Mr. Ethan Carter. The woman checked her computer. Then shook her head. I'm sorry. Mr. Carter isn't seeing guests. It's important. I'm afraid that's not possible. Ryan's forehead was already covered in sweat. Please tell him Ryan Bennett is here. The receptionist made a phone call. A few moments later, she hung up. Then she looked at him politely. Mr. Carter said he doesn't know anyone named Ryan Bennett. The words hit him like a hammer. Olivia's face turned pale. He said that? Yes. Silence. A long, painful silence. Ryan clenched his fists. Then tell him Olivia is here. Another phone call. Another answer. The receptionist looked at her. Her expression was still polite. But somehow, it felt even colder. Mr. Carter said. She paused. He used to know someone by that name. Olivia felt her chest tighten. Used to? Yes. The receptionist lowered her eyes. But that person no longer exists in his world. For a second, Olivia forgot how to breathe. No longer exists. The words cut deeper than any insult. She remembered saying something similar to Ethan. You don't belong in my world. Now those words had come back. Only this time. She was the one left outside. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened. Several executives hurried out. They immediately stopped when they saw Ryan. One of them recognized him. It was a former business partner. Ryan? He quickly walked over. You're here? Ryan forced a smile. Yes. I'm meeting Mr. Carter. The man looked confused. Meeting him? Yes. The executive glanced toward the receptionist. Then back at Ryan. His expression slowly changed. You don't know. Ryan's heart sank. Know what? The man lowered his voice. The entire city knows. Knows what? He looked at Olivia. Then sighed. Mr. Carter has ordered that the Bennett family be permanently removed from all future cooperation projects. Ryan's legs almost gave out. Eh? The executive hesitated. What? He also requested that no company under Carter Global hire Miss Olivia. Olivia froze. What did you say? The executive looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Her face turned white. No company will hire me. He nodded. The world seemed to spin. She remembered what she had once said to Ethan. You'll never become anyone important. Now. The important person had decided her future with one sentence. Tears filled her eyes. She looked toward the elevators. Toward the floor where Ethan was. For the first time in her life. She truly understood what losing someone meant. At that exact moment. On the top floor, Ethan stood beside the window. An assistant approached. Sir, Mr. Bennett and Miss Olivia are downstairs. I know. They want to see you. Ethan remained silent. The assistant hesitated. Should I invite them up? A long pause. Then Ethan smiled. A calm smile. No. He looked at the city below. At the countless people walking through their lives. Then he said quietly. Some doors only open once. And when they close. He slipped his hands into his pockets. They never open again. Chapter 5, The Woman Outside the Door. Olivia didn't leave. Neither did Ryan. They stood outside Carter Tower for nearly an hour. People walked past them. Some recognized Ryan Bennett. Some whispered. Some simply looked at them with pity. For the first time in his life, Ryan knew what humiliation felt like. His phone rang again. He didn't want to answer. It kept ringing. Finally, he picked up. Hello? His father's voice exploded through the speaker. Where are you? At Carter Tower. Then don't come back until you fix this. The call ended. Second later, another one came in. One of the company's directors. Ryan, our biggest investor, just withdrew. Click. Another call. Our overseas project has been suspended. Click. Another. The bank wants immediate repayment. Click. Each call felt like another nail in a coffin. Ryan slowly lowered his phone. His hands were shaking. Olivia looked at him. For the first time, she saw fear. Real fear. Then the glass doors opened. An elegant woman in a black suit walked out. She looked to be in her early 30s. Cold. Beautiful. Confident. Every employee who passed her lowered their head respectfully. She walked directly toward them. Mr. Bennett. Miss Olivia. Ryan straightened immediately. You know us? The woman gave a small smile. Mr. Carter asked me to deliver a message. At the mention of Ethan's name, Olivia's heart skipped a beat. What message? The woman looked at Ryan first. Mr. Carter said that if the Bennett family collapses, it won't be because of him. Ryan frowned. What does that mean? It means your family built a business on weak foundations. She took a step closer. He simply removed the illusion. Ryan's face turned ugly. Then the woman turned to Olivia. Her expression softened slightly. Mr. Carter has another message for you. Olivia unconsciously held her breath. The woman spoke quietly. He said, thank you. Olivia froze. Thank me? Yes. For what? The woman looked up at the giant building behind her. For loving him once. Silence. The city noise seemed to disappear. Olivia's eyes slowly turned red. The woman continued. He also said that he hopes you find the life you want. Tear rolled down Olivia's cheek. She couldn't understand. Why? After everything she had done. After humiliating him. After betraying him. Why was he still being kind? As if reading her mind, the woman said softly. Because that's who he is. Then she reached into her bag and handed Olivia a small envelope. He asked me to give you this. Olivia's fingers trembled. She slowly opened it. Inside was a bank card. And a note. Only one sentence. The rent has been paid for the next 2 years. Don't worry about moving. The handwriting was unmistakable. Ethan's. Her vision blurred instantly. She remembered something. 3 years ago, she had lost her job. She had cried all night, afraid she wouldn't be able to pay the rent. Ethan had held her hand and said, Don't worry. I'll take care of it. He always did. No matter how hard life became. No matter how tired he was. He always took care of it. And now, even after the divorce, he was still protecting her. Olivia suddenly couldn't stand anymore. She slowly crouched down. Then she began to cry. Not quietly this time. She broke. Completely. People passing by looked over. She didn't care. For the first time, she finally understood something. Ethan had never been poor. The poorest person had been her. Because she had someone who loved her with everything he had. And she threw him away. Ryan looked at the note in her hand. Then at the bank card. Bitter smile appeared on his face. He had money. Power. Connections. Yet in this moment, he knew he had already lost. Because no amount of money could make a person do what Ethan had just done. The woman in black checked her watch. I should go. She turned to leave. Then stopped. There is one more thing. Both of them looked up. She smiled faintly. Mr. Carter asked me to tell you that today is his birthday. Olivia's breathing stopped. Birthday. Today. The woman nodded. He spent the last 3 birthdays with you. He cooked dinner every year. He bought a cake every year. He waited every year. She looked directly into Olivia's eyes. And every year. Her voice became softer. You forgot. Silence. Absolute silence. The world seemed to disappear. Olivia remembered. The first year. She had been working late. The second year. She had gone shopping with friends. The third year. Yesterday. She had held a divorce party. On his birthday. The envelope slipped from her fingers. She looked like someone whose soul had left her body. The woman sighed. Take care of yourself, Miss Olivia. Then she walked back into the building. The door slowly closed. Olivia remained on the ground. Memory suddenly came back. 1 year ago. Ethan had stood by the window, smiling. If one day I disappear, would you miss me? She hadn't even looked up from her phone. Stop asking childish questions. He had simply smiled. Then changed the subject. At the time, she didn't notice the sadness in his eyes. Now she did. Now she remembered everything. And it hurt. It hurt so much she could barely breathe. She slowly covered her face and whispered. I'm sorry. But the person she wanted to hear it was no longer there. At that exact moment, high above the city, Ethan stood in his office. His assistant entered. Sir. Yes. Miss Olivia is crying downstairs. Ethan remained silent. A few seconds later, he asked. Did she receive the envelope? Yes. The assistant hesitated. She seems heartbroken. Ethan nodded. Then he turned back toward the window. The city lights reflected in his eyes. The assistant couldn't help asking. Sir, do you still love her? A long silence followed. Then Ethan smiled. A tired smile. I'll probably always care about her. The assistant looked surprised. But love. He paused. Love should never require someone to beg for respect. He slipped his hands into his pockets. And once your heart learns that lesson. His eyes became calm. It never forgets. Chapter 6, The Woman Beside Him. It started to rain. Light rain at first. Then heavier. People hurried across the street, opening umbrellas and running for cover. Olivia didn't move. She remained on her knees outside Carter Tower. The envelope in her hand was already wet. So was her face. Ryan looked at her. Olivia, let's go. No response. There's nothing we can do here. Still nothing. She stared at the glass doors. As if she expected Ethan to walk out at any moment. As if one more apology could fix everything. Finally, she spoke. Do you think he'll forgive me? Ryan didn't answer. Because he already knew the answer. Some mistakes cost money. Some cost opportunities. And some cost people. A long time passed. Then the doors opened. Olivia immediately looked up. Her heart nearly stopped. It was Ethan. He had changed into a black suit. The simple delivery uniform was gone. So was the tired look in his eyes. Tonight, he looked exactly like what he was born to be. An heir. The king. Several executives followed behind him. They spoke respectfully. Good evening, Mr. Carter. The board meeting is ready. The shareholders have all arrived. He nodded calmly. Then he saw her. For a brief second, their eyes met. Olivia slowly stood up. Her legs were shaking. Ethan. He stopped walking. Rain fell between them. Neither spoke. 3 years of memories seemed to hang in the air. Then she took a step forward. I'm sorry. Her voice trembled. I know it's too late, but I'm really sorry. He said nothing. Another step. I didn't know. Another. If I had known. You would have stayed. His voice was calm. She froze. The question hit her like a knife. Would she have stayed? Because she loved him. Or because of his money? She couldn't answer. And that silence was already an answer. A sad smile appeared on Ethan's face. You see? He looked at her quietly. That's why we're here. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I did love you. I know. I really did. I know. Then why? Her voice broke. Why can't we start over? For a moment, Ethan didn't speak. Then he looked at the rain. And smiled. Do you remember the night we met? She nodded through her tears. Of course she remembered. She had been drunk. Sitting alone outside a restaurant. Crying because she had been fired. Everyone ignored her. Except one stranger. Ethan had sat beside her. Bought her a cup of hot tea. And listened. All night. You asked me why I was helping you. He looked at her. And do you remember what I said? She did. Every word. You said. Her voice was barely a whisper. Because no one should cry alone. A gentle expression appeared in his eyes. That's right. The rain became heavier. But tonight. He took a slow breath. You're not crying because you're alone. She looked at him, confused. You're crying because you finally understand what you've lost. Those words shattered something inside her. She covered her mouth and burst into tears. Because he was right. Every word. She didn't miss the poor delivery driver. She missed the man who had loved her. The man who remembered every little thing. The man who waited. The man who forgave. The man standing in front of her. And she had thrown him away. Car slowly pulled up beside Ethan. The rear door opened. A woman stepped out. She wore a white coat over an elegant black dress. Long dark hair. Clear eyes. Beautiful. But there was something else. Calmness. Confidence. She looked directly at Ethan. Then smiled. Am I late? Ethan smiled back. Right on time. Olivia's face turned pale. Who is she? The woman finally noticed her. Her expression remained polite. I should ask the same question. Silence. Ethan answered calmly. An old friend. The word struck Olivia harder than a slap. Old friend. That was all she had become. The woman stepped closer. I'm Sophia Reed. She extended her hand. Olivia couldn't move. Because she knew that name. Everyone did. Dr. Sophia Reed. Youngest director of the prestigious Reed Medical Foundation. Daughter of one of the most influential families in the country. Brilliant. Beautiful. Untouchable. She looked at Ethan. Then suddenly smiled. So this is the famous ex-wife. Olivia's face turned red. Sophia tilted her head slightly. You made him cry once. Ethan sighed. Sophia. What? It's true. She looked back at Olivia. You should know, he never cried as a child. Olivia's breathing stopped. Never? Sophia smiled softly. The day he came back 3 years ago. She looked at Ethan. He cried. Silence. Do you know what he said? No one moved. He said he had finally found someone worth giving up everything for. Tears streamed down Olivia's face. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. Sophia's expression softened. And today? She glanced at Ethan again. I think he finally came home. Ethan smiled helplessly. You talk too much. I've known you for 20 years. That's my right. Olivia looked between them. 20 years. She suddenly realized there had been an entire world in Ethan's life that she had never known. A world that existed long before her. A world she had never been invited into. And now? She never would be. The board members approached. Mr. Carter, everyone is waiting. He nodded. Then looked at Olivia one last time. The rain continued to fall. She looked small. Fragile. For a moment, his eyes softened. Then he quietly removed his coat and handed it to her. She looked up in shock. You're still doing this? A faint smile appeared on his face. It's raining. Just 3 words. Exactly the same words he had said countless times. Take an umbrella. Wear a coat. It's raining. Her tears became uncontrollable. Because even now, he was still kind. But kindness was no longer love. He turned around. Sophia opened an umbrella. The two of them walked toward the waiting car. Halfway there, Olivia suddenly shouted. Ethan! He stopped. She looked at his back. Her voice was shaking. If. She swallowed hard. If one day I become someone better. Silence. Will you come back? The rain seemed to stop for a moment. Then Ethan smiled. Without turning around, he answered softly. The person I loved. He looked up at the night sky. Already existed. And I waited for her for 3 years. A long pause. But she never came. Then he stepped into the car. The door closed. The black vehicle disappeared into the rain, leaving Olivia standing alone, holding his coat, crying like someone who had lost the entire world.